Who would have thought? Who would have thought it? Well, once again, we come sliding into home plate here. We having some trouble getting on Facebook, and we want that because we can't. Well, we can't see your smiling faces anyway, but we can hear your or feel your radiant presence. So
Exactly.
Dieter had trouble getting in there. So anyway, welcome everybody. Ron Nielsen, Capt Ron here, and Dieter Staudinger, and aptly or ably in my as my first officer for another edition of Fearless Flight Live. That's our weekly show that we do for all of you who are afraid, any of you who think or know somebody you're afraid, and the rest of you who just are interested about the news. And we got something for everybody tonight in particular, because we're going to talk about the one particular thing that's going on out there that everybody keeps asking me all week. Is it safe to fly? So we'll talk about that. So let me share my screen and get this show on the road.
Right.
Okay. Should I change the background, Dieter, or is this? We'll just go with this.
Oh, you're good. That's okay.
Okay. Welcome everybody. Fearless Flight Live, our weekly Facebook show, coming to you live from Tempe, Arizona, and live from Toronto, Canada, or Hamilton, I guess is actually up there. As I said, this is for people who are afraid to fly, people who know somebody who's afraid to fly, and those of you who just want to stay connected to the aviation industry in the world out there. Birds of a Feather group. This is our private Facebook group called Fearless Flight, Birds of a Feather. And we got to be really close to 2,000 now members.
Yeah, we're getting
a great place. If you haven't joined, please consider joining. And when you arrive, let us know you were there. Leave a little note or a remark, or check in with people. It's a good place to get information. Good place to leave information and encouragement, and just stay connected to us there. Tonight, a shorter agenda, but still going to fill the time here. America's air safety troubles are more serious than you know. That's a headline. And if you're like many of the other people that have been talking to me, say, geez, Ron, should I fly now? What's going on? Yeah, well, we're going to try and give you some perspective of that. And then we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about the Clear for Takeoff 101 in LA. We're back, bigger than ever. And of course, if you have any questions along the way, please don't hesitate. And I got a little bit of a surprise. I'm going to solicit some feedback from you all, maybe some volunteers. But anyway, so first things first. This was the headline in the Atlantic. America's air safety troubles are more serious than you know, and it's based on the article there. So what do they mean by that? At face value, many of you think, oh my gosh, now it's getting more dangerous to go in the skies. So it has to do with they've been trouble having people, just the demographics of everybody out there trying to hire people who are qualified. But after this deadly crash, they've had some mass resignations and some political interference. These are not my views. This is out of the Atlantic, which is a fairly open publication. And of course, Elon Musk's name is just about everywhere. He happens to be trying to integrate his Starlink satellite complex in there and the technology and replace. The FAA has a big program, big contract with Verizon, and so the public confidence in aviation safety is declining rapidly because of some of the things. And many of you may recall the first big punch in the nose was when they said that that DEI contributed to that. And I'm here to tell you, DEI had nothing to do with the mid-air collision in Washington, D.C. out there. It was a classic a situation where a whole bunch of linked incidents all occurred. And if any one of them had not occurred, we wouldn't have had that accident. And any of you who've done coaching over the last week, you got a lot better idea on what happened there. And if you want more information, let me know. We won't talk about that specifically tonight, but we'll talk about the impact. But it upset the apple cart, if you will. And the FAA has gotten involved in some of the downsizing and all that. And so I'm going to give you this one overview about what is relevant about this. so this article, and if you read it in detail, it talks about this. It doesn't try to raise everybody's fear level, thinking that now they're going to put airplanes in the air and they're not going to be as safe as they were before. What happens is if we don't have enough controllers, qualified people, and that's in all areas, but maintaining the sites, people that actually control the radar scopes and all that, what happens is the penalty is taken on the ground. So if this continues to manifest in shorter populations or shorter workforces, and they can't staff it fully like they'd like to, what'll happen is you're going to end up with a lot more delays on the ground, and there's going to be a lot more complaining, but from the airlines, the passengers, and the traveling public. And so that's the one thing I want to leave you. If you don't get anything else that I say tonight, know that we don't just keep pushing airplanes in the air if we don't have the stations filled in the radar rooms and things like that. And it's we're going to take a little bit of a deep dive in looking for what each component of this crisis is and how it's manifested. So as I said initially, the FAA's had a big workforce exodus. Over 1,300 employees have opted for early retirement or resignations. And this included somewhere in the vicinity of 100 air traffic controllers right after the accident, the mid-air collision out there. And critical safety roles are being vacated without replacements. And again, it doesn't mean that we're flying as many airplanes. It means that it's going to bog down the system. There's going to be fewer slots being in the air. The airlines will not be able to probably fully fly all of their schedules, or they'll be delayed, and so it's just going to add chaos to the system, and it's going to be a lot more delays. And after the crash, the mid-air collision between the American regional jet and the Army helicopter, one of the DOGE buyout programs initiated prompted mass resignations across the FAA. A lot of the controllers said that, that's it. They were probably sitting on the fence anyway, and they said, that's enough for me. I'm going to take the money and run. And so that's what we're faced with right now. SpaceX is been deployed to the FAA with directive to install Starlink. Now, this raises cybersecurity oversight and conflict of interest concerns because it is a manifestation of Elon Musk's company. And it's contradicting the existing $2.4 billion Verizon contract that was in place to modernize the fleet out there. And Musk's involvement produces a private sector push into the FAA infrastructure, which has traditionally been not privately messed with at all. So this would be not only the potential conflict of interest issues, but and the incompatibility with whatever Verizon has done, and now Starlink coming on the scene, and it bypasses traditional vetting and raises questions about the integrity of the contract, cybersecurity, and government oversight. Again, we've never done this in the history of the FAA. It's always been government managed. And as a pilot, I'm concerned about that. Again, not about the safety, but about although it could spill into that if things weren't tested a lot, but mainly it's going to affect the capacity of the system. It's disrupted public confidence, and the perception of flight safety has been deteriorating in light of multiple recent incidents. People have been surveyed and said that they have chosen to delay or not fly since this has been more in the news. And this FAA crisis as such is not just internal, it's visible to the public, and it's leading to increased fear and reduced trust in the aviation system. And you see the numbers up here. The perception drop from the perception of confidence in the system has dropped from 71 to 64 since that crash. And not only was the midair collision, a factor, but then there was a couple of incidents right after that. A medical jet crashed in Philly, and even though that may have not in any way been due to the issues that would plague the airlines per se, it did make the news at the same time. I mean, a lot of people have just written me saying, "What's up, Ron? What's going on?" And then there was that SpaceX rocket test that exploded. And they actually had to stop the departures for a while until they made sure that the debris was not going to be a factor. So a summary of all this and the consequences, there are cumulative issues that pose a significant national risk. The FAA being destabilized, the political chaos out there, the talent drain of the more senior fully qualified controllers that are leaving, and then the potential for technological disputes between Starlink and Verizon. It talks about safety critical missions are suffering, and then the stakes are high. Lives depend on FAA stability and focus. And the FAA is always traditionally been responsible. Well, they're still responsible. But like I said, traditionally, it's just been one of the unique government mandated agencies for maintaining one of the most complex and busiest airspaces in the world. And any destabilization of this could have serious long-term consequences for public safety and the economy for sure. So we'll stay connected to this and see what happens. It's like a lot of the other changes that DOGE has imposed on government employees and government agencies. So it could get really complex if it all ends up in the courts. So we'll have to wait and see. All right. On a happy note, we are finally set to resume our Clear for Takeoff 101 classes in the Los Angeles area. It's going to be up in Valencia, which is north of the Burbank Airport, about 20 minutes, I believe. I have driven it. I just can't remember with that much certainty. And there's a link up there. You can register right now. $97, I think, Dieter, right?
Yes, that's correct. Right now it's $97.
Okay. And April 12th, coming up. So that's just a couple of weeks away. And we are really excited about doing this. It's one of the most fun things we do. And you'll see this is the new, bless his heart, the owner over there that contacted me over 10 years ago after the Malaysian airliner disappeared and it was all over the news. He saw me on an ABC Nightline special and he called me up like the next day and said, "Hey, Capt Ron, I've been looking for you." And I'm like, "You're looking for me? I don't know you." And then we got involved. We had done up to 4 classes per year from 2014 on until we got to 2020 when the pandemic hit, and that put the skids on it. Following the pandemic, bless his heart, the owner of the studio was plagued by the writer's strike, and then the actor's strike, so he's moved not just from his original facility once, but then again to another one. But I haven't seen the inside of this, but the one that he just moved out of was incredible, as was the first one. And so it provides you with a lot of really good opportunities to immerse yourself in a setting that will help you, one, get comfortable with the setting and some of your issues, and 2, you won't have to worry about it because we'll never get it out of that hangar. We'll never get it off the ground. So yeah. So what do you think? So I've been doing this 37 years, and this class is really truly special. To have this opportunity, I wish we had it everywhere, but to have this opportunity over in the LA area is incredible. And like I said, it's the first time since the pandemic that we're doing this. Over the decades. Thousands of people have joined me at Sky Harbor in Phoenix, and now if you're going to be in LA at that time and you want to do this, you'll have that same opportunity, and we'll create a plan that works for you. So it's the first step for many of you, and it's a great step because what we're going to do is we're going to feed people from that that April 10th class, we're going to do another one on, or I'm sorry, April 12th class. We're going to have another one on May 10th. And then we're going to have our Clear for Takeoff 301 class on May 31st. So we're going to hopefully feed as many of you as possible into those classes. And we're really excited because this is what we did for so many years out there. You know, flight anxiety is a form of phobia. It's an anxiety disorder, and what it is, it's a fear that's out of proportion to the actual danger. And most fearful flyers understand that aviation is safe. Many of you say, "I know it's not logical to be afraid like this," but it doesn't stop the emotions. And you can't just think your way out of it. It takes a process. We have a saying, the thinking that got you into that won't be the thinking that got you out of that. So hence our motto, Fearless Flight it helps people change the way they think about flying. And as I said, most of you know it's statistically safe. People come to me, they say, I know I'm not worried about crashing. I'm just worried about the emotions and not being able to cope. And that's what we've learned from 37 years of working with people like you, that you need you need a system or a roadmap to get unstuck. And that's what we'll be showing you in the class that day from 1 to 3 o'clock. We'll talk a lot about anticipation and the anticipatory spiral. 97% of you tell me that, well, my number one concern other than underlying control is anticipatory anxiety. That is, you know, it's what triggers you into going into that anticipation spiral, that buildup of anxiety before you even get on the airplane. For some of you, it happens 6 months before. For some of you, it happens the night before or on the way to the airport. But we'll help you learn how to why it happens, how your brain reacts, and most importantly, what you can do about it. It isn't just a lecture. So if you're counting on me to entertain you, rethink that, because it's interactive, practical. We do breakout activities to give you a chance to actually practice some of the things that we're going to help you learn how to queue up. So we're going to help you understand it. We'll do at least one visualization to help you go through that process and learn that process. We'll teach you the brain science behind fear and how to interrupt it. And like I said, we'll do the breakout sessions to normalize your experience and foster support. And that's really how you get over fear of flying. You have to normalize those experiences. And we'll try to call your recollection to times in your life when you've gotten through anxiety like that. Nearly everybody we've ever worked with has had some bad experience in an automobile, but you didn't end up having to go to let me get in the car and return to driving webinar or seminar. No, because there's granted, there are some different nuances to that, but it's just because with a car, the average person has many, many more opportunities to normalize that, where unless you got a lot of money and a lot of time, the average person doesn't fly all that much in their life. So it'll be a step-by-step process to help you prepare and then and grow your confidence. We'll have a lot of tools there. We'll talk about labeling your emotions. Like, this is just my anxiety talking. We'll teach you something about the elephant and the rider metaphor, how your emotional mind and your rational mind contradict each other sometimes. We'll teach you about heart rate variability breathing, breathing in for 4 seconds and breathing out for 6 seconds. We'll teach you how to reframe catastrophic thoughts using logic and evidence. And that does put the elephant and the rider metaphor to work. We'll teach you how to either master the pre-flight rituals you have, or to create new ones to help bring you a sense of calm and control. And the biggest thing is we'll help you visualize success from packing to landing so that you can simulate flying before you ever have to get in the airplane. That's what many of you need. You need the opportunity to think through as if you were flying in a realistic way, and we'll do that. And these are not gimmicks. They're science-based strategies that work. And many of them I've acquired or at least been turned on to them over the 37 years by people like you out there who are trying to get it. And one of the most powerful things about coming to a class like this is the realization that you are not alone. So many people come here feel like they're the only ones. And one of the most often uttered responses is they come in the room, you see other people say, "Oh my gosh, I thought I was going to be the only one." No, you'll be with other people who know what you're going through. They get you. And we just had our monthly webinars on Thursday, our coaching webinars on Thursday, and then last Saturday morning. And I've changed that to incorporate even more activities where people interact with each other on there. And it's just a dramatic difference to see the people, even from the time they first log on. Nobody wants to show their face live on the Zoom screen. Nobody wants to talk. And I put them into the first breakout activity. And when they come back, they're just, everybody's opened up just because they had the opportunity to talk to somebody who understands what they're going through. It's so very powerful.
Ron, just real quick, because I know there are a couple of people that actually were registered are right here watching, and we're having the replay currently sent to our editor, and as soon as that replay comes back to us, we're gonna post it, and of course there will be the two visualizations as well, right?
Yep, and I have to confess, hearing that, because I promised the people there that I would do the quick edit. We do it. We have somebody formally and professionally edit the thing, and so that could take up to a week sometimes. Well, I decided I'd use one of my quick software programs called Loom. So I did that. I got it all ready, and I forgot to hit the send button on the email. I had it done yesterday. Or on Sunday. So I apologize to all of you out there. I think I sent another promise out there, but tonight, well, I better not say that. By tomorrow morning, you will see the replay if you attended, and I so apologize for that. Oh my gosh!
And if you didn't attend, but you have access to it, then you'll just have to wait until we get back the recording from our editor, and then we'll upload it into the site.
Yeah. It was a great one. It would be worth joining if you only even joined for 1 month to get the replay of this last webinar that we did, particularly the one on Saturday morning. It was just really phenomenal. Everybody wrote me back and said, "Oh my gosh, that was the best experience I've ever had." So anyway, this is an opportunity for you on a different level to meet other people like you who understand what you're going through. And group sharing helps normalize the fear and reduces shame. And those are the two biggest issues that people face. And we build a support network to go along with that lasts well beyond this class. And flight anxiety is not a life sentence. So many people, when I first started doing this work, would say, I don't necessarily want to get to where I love flying. I just want to get to where I can get to Hawaii and back, or take my family on a vacation without forcing them into the car for a road trip. And I've since learned not necessarily to tell people that you can learn to love it, but just to tell them, number one, it's not a life sentence. You do not have to think that you can never get over this. It's a habit of thought, and habits can be changed. We don't think about thinking as a habit. And that's one of the things that we go into on this. And every flight you take is practice. Every step rewires your fear response. It literally changes your brain. And if you have the courage, we'll help you with the consistency. It will get easier. And I love to put this out. It's not, the sky is no longer your limit. It's the gateway to new possibilities. And it's just, you can change, and anybody out there can do this. And all you have to do is show up and do not give up. So please consider, if you're anywhere in the LA area on April 12th, please consider coming to join us out there for Clear for Takeoff 101 at the Air Hollywood Studios. It'll be on Saturday, April 12th from 1 to 3. We tried to give people out there, because I know it can be, some of the people in the southern part of the county in LA over there, it may take them an hour to get there. So we didn't want to make it early in the morning. So we put it at the middle of the day. And reserve your seat now and get on the flight path to freedom. Okay. So, whoops, I forgot to put the registration link in there, but Dieter, no doubt has put it in the notes there.
Yeah,
So
it's in the comment section.
yeah. So if you're ready to stop letting your fear keep you in this prison in your mind, now is the time to join us for April 12th. You're going to leave there with tools, a sense of community, and most importantly, hope. So don't wait. You've already shown enough courage just by showing up for this weekly show here and exploring the possibilities. So help us help you take the next step together. Okay. So I do have a kind of a special whoops, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to stop the share. Okay, so now we're back. Any other questions or comments, Dieter?
No, not directly. I just wanted to also make sure that we will have the 301, the flight class. We will have the registrations up shortly, and the reason for that is, even though it's going to be NMA, as you know, Southwest, the closer we get to the date, the more the tickets cost. So
Right.
that's why whether you attend on the 12th of April or the 10th of May, and then I think we're gonna have a flight class from Phoenix on the end of May as well. Maybe, right? That's not
Crazy. We're
for
actually
sure.
considering having a class in Phoenix on the 31st of May for anybody in Phoenix who wants to go on a flight, flying to Burbank, picking up our friends in Burbank, and flying over to Phoenix. So the Phoenix people who've got on in the first leg, they will get off, and then the Burbank people, I'll go back and I'll end up, according to the flight schedule, they don't have enough, so I'll end up spending the night over there. But I'm actually looks like we're gonna have two classes, one in Phoenix and one in Burbank, and the more the merrier. So stay tuned. Stay tuned.
As soon as we have ironed out the exact flight details, we're gonna have the pages up for that registration. And I just want to also a comment that was made. It was really appreciated that you were reporting openly on what's really going on rather than trying to sugarcoat and just track it. And while flying is still by far the safest way to travel anywhere, literally, even from your bed to the washroom, it could be more dangerous.
Absolutely.
There's no doubt that some of these things are somewhat concerning, and there's really good people working on doing their best every single day to make to keep flying safe and to make it a better experience for everyone. So,
and I first got my license at the Air Force Academy in 1968. I've been flying a long time, and I promise you, if I ever have any doubts about getting on an airplane myself, you'll be the first to know. Okay, so I want to leave you with that. And like I said, to just kind of reiterate, the problems that you're going to see if the staffing gets to a point where they can't have a full complement and launch all the airline schedules is you're going to see delays. You're going to end up on the ground. And maybe that's what we need to do. Maybe that's part of the evolution that we're on in the United States right now. We just have to get things so messed up and get rid of enough people where people say, hey, I've had enough. And we get people back. It could have a long legacy to it. I won't kid you about that. But it's when you launch into the air, you have to have an instrument flight rule clearance, an IFR clearance, and it protects you from takeoff to touchdown. And if they don't have the people to do that, you have to wait and take your turn on the ground there. So the other thing I want to share with you, and this is just because I can't contain my own enthusiasm. Dieter and I have been trying to completely rework our website to make it more efficient and user friendly for you all so that we don't get questions from you. One of the things I never anticipated when I started doing this is just having people log on. And I know myself, I go to do something innocent on the internet and it doesn't look like what I expected it to. So that's one of the things that's held us back for a long time. And it's been very frustrating on my part because I'm so busy now. I spend most of my time doing customer service and trying to just get the people that I have coaching sessions with, follow through on them. And Dieter, he's been constantly running around with Band-Aids, putting one here, one there, one there. Hey, Dieter, can you do this for me? Jeez, Ron, I can't do three things at once. And so we have taken the next step to do that. And with any luck, we've been promised it could be like a month. So I'll multiply that times 2 at least. But we will, by the summer, we fully anticipate having an interface that is so much friendlier, so much more user friendly, and the best thing is
friendly. Yeah.
And mobile friendly, because we know that 70 to 80% of you out there do not use a computer. You use this. And so if you don't have your system geared up to use your portable devices, you're missing half the boat.
I've been answering a couple of I understand the frustration because I go on certain web portals or have courses or something, and if it doesn't work, it's frustrating. But as we are, going through that process, hopefully, like Ron said, within the next 1 or 2 months, it'll be a much smoother and better experience for both you accessing our services, products, resources, and as well as us on the back end, so we can actually be more supportive to your needs and help you achieve your goals. So,
and we thank you for your patience in advance, because our workload, when just like aviation, whenever they add automation to aviation, at first you think, oh, cool, that's going to make it easier to do. No, the first step is it gets more complicated because you got to learn how to use it. And then you get the benefits, time saving, all that. So you'll see that. So Dieter will be doing triple work sometimes. I'll be doing double, trying to keep what we got going without frustrating you anymore and getting the new system up and running. So that's that. One last thing before I go. How can I word this? We've had some.
Thank you. It would be great if someone could revamp the website, John. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Right there. It's perfect.
We've had a couple of crumbles here just in the last week with the webinars. Very frustrating for us too. But I've had a lot of media interest. Well, it turns out that we might have occasion for somebody out there who has come to FearlessFlight or whatever since those media events, since the mid-air collision and the Delta crash and the other things like that. So what I want you to do is think, am I one of those people? It didn't make you afraid to fly. We've talked about that, but it certainly took the lid off the pot and it boiled over. When the media contacts me, what they typically like to do, they like to talk to somebody who's been triggered by the theme of the article, and that's the theme of this article that is allegedly going to come. They're going to come to me for, and that is they want somebody that was triggered by that and then want to follow them through the process. So if you are going to be in the LA area and register for the class, or you're in Phoenix, or even with today's technology, anywhere you are, and so save me the work of having to go through all the coaching calls that I've done in the last month. But if you're interested or think you might be interested in talking to the media about your experiences and then answering the questions, what helps, what doesn't, and what it's been like for you, let me know. Just send me an email to Capt Ron, CaptRon @fearlessflight.com, and I'll be more than happy to talk to you as I get more information. Okay. So thanks, Dieter. Thanks all of you out there. It's our joy to do this. We really do love it. And we're looking, I was just joking. I wanted to have my big push in life by the time Ray Kroc, who started McDonald's, was 52. only took me another 25 years, and I haven't reached my first billion hamburgers yet. But I'm not giving up. So anyway, so thanks once again for watching us, everybody, and sharing this episode with us. And stay tuned. Come back next week for another episode of Fearless Flight Live. We'll see you, everybody. Have a great week. Bye bye.